don't even know where to begin on how good this movie was to me, bro. It's like I'm still recovering to this day. But anyways, hey, First Player here. And by the time this video drops, I have seen Sonic 2 over like a million times already because it's just that good. So I'm just going to be sharing a little quick review on my thoughts on how I felt about the movie, because this is something I feel like I have to talk about as a lifelong Sonic fan. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is the sequel to the once widely controversial yet very enjoyable Sonic the Hedgehog movie, which adapts the game series of the same name. It revolves around Sonic as he finds a new life in Green Hills and introduces new characters such as Tails and Knuckles as they make their first appearance in the film series, and returning faces such as Robotnik and Stone. The plot is a race to acquire the Master Emerald, which is the source material it came from, is a relic of infinite and ultimate power, which uncovers more about Sonic's background and powers, thus giving us more lore to work with going forward in this new line of Sonic media. The first thing I definitely want to get into is the portrayal of Knuckles in the movie. Honestly, this is the best version of Knuckles that we have seen so far, in my opinion, and I have to give credit to the guy Idris Elba for dedicating himself to create such a masterpiece with the character that we all know and love. Knuckles in the movie is pretty much a combination of current Knuckles and the Knuckles from back then, but is more so of the latter. He gives off a lone warrior vibe, which, like I said, is a trait that he's widely known for, being the last of his kind. The way he views things is that of someone who constantly is in a bout of some type and is trying to do everything in their power to continue on until they hit their goal, which completely works since he's supposed to be the apparent new villain along with Robotnik, even though everyone knows that's not really the case, and that Knuckles is just doing whatever he can to see his goals through to the end. Though he is characterized as a very serious character for the most part, Knuckles does have a lighthearted side to him that he shows later on and is a bit socially awkward when trying to be friendly. It's only fair considering that the only thing he has ever known was war and has trained himself from the ground up to beat Sonic. Of course, we can't forget his gullibility either. I mean, it's one of the things that makes Knuckles so likable and interesting. And again, Idris does it so well when setting the tone and thought process for Knuckles. He gave him a very deep and rough vibe that also has this charm and appeal that every fan, old and new, they can get behind and enjoy. He completely captured whatever essence it was that made Knuckles considered by many to be the best iteration of the character so far. Next is Tails and his dynamic with Sonic in this movie. At first, he wasn't necessarily Sonic's best friend, as that spot had already been filled by Tom, but this was understandably Tails acting from an admirer standpoint. Like in the movie and the games for that matter, he's been watching Sonic and learning more all about him, all while attempting to eventually help him in order to make him aware that Knuckles is out for his head. This version of Tails is all around the same as he was in the game, but is slightly more brave in my opinion. I don't know if that makes sense or not, because to me, in Sonic Adventure at least, or before Sonic Adventure at least, I always saw Tails relying on Sonic for most of his actions or his gameplay while with Sonic, and was commanded by Sonic rather than acting out of his own will. But in this film, Tails took a lot of leads and strides with his independence, all while trying to find and finally meet Sonic, usually insisting that he do his well-known actions on his own for most of the time. Nonetheless, he was still the kid brother figure to Sonic just as he's always been, and finally received the best friend title after it was made clear that Sonic now sees Tom as a father rather than his best friend anymore. Colleen reprising her role in this movie was such an amazing thing to witness, considering from what I've seen so far, not many video game voice actors or actresses get to reprise their character's role in a different piece of media that much, if at all. Seeing that for the first time in a video game movie with one of my favorite characters in one of my favorite series of all time was a very nice and crazy experience to go through. And the fact that Colleen definitely nailed this version of Tails just makes it that much more amazing for me. Great job to her. I don't think I really have too much to say on the human characters in the movie, but the development that some of the characters had since the first film was pretty fun to watch. Tom and Maddie being accustomed to living with Sonic after months of giving him the parental guidance he needs, Stone being able to work on his own without Robotnik to some extent, and Wade being like an uncle figure to Sonic whenever he needs them, etc, etc. The humans played their part just as good as the voice actors, and per usual, it was fun to watch them do their magic in the movie. I'd love to go way deeper into the movie, specifically what I think about the action scenes and whatnot, but I think that would lead into spoiler territory. That being said, I'll end this off with my final verdict of the movie. 10 out of 10 movie, bias or no bias, I loved it 100%. It was literally a wild ride the entire way through. Like, if I had to describe it, I'd say it was like the movie was sweet to the Sonic fan in me, with all the references, comedy and pop culture references and whatnot, but at the same time was like violently shaking me with all of the action and suspense that I had watching all of the action scenes for the first time. It's such a fantastic film for growing children interested in the series and for returning and veteran fans alike, and it's so much more than the first film. I feel like the first Sonic movie was the tip of the iceberg with everything, considering how the plot was the entirely original while staying pretty much true to the source material. And then as we got deeper into the cinematic universe of Sonic, like now with Sonic 2 and later with Sonic 3 and the Knuckles series coming along with it, we can expect more of the video game lore to be tied into the films and shows, because that was certainly the case with 2. Even though in my opinion Sonic 2 was more serious than the first, never ever forget that Sonic is a children's piece of media first and foremost, and should never really be taken seriously. It will always appeal to the small and growing children before any of us adults, and that is okay. Nonetheless, seeing all the constant love that this movie is getting does nothing but put a big ass smile on my face, because this is my favorite series of all time, and I love to see it win in any way it can. I literally cannot stress enough about how much it means to me seeing the Blue Road and break records and set standards for others to follow. It's just an amazing thing to watch, but all in all, I'd go as far as to say that this movie is without a doubt peak fiction. So yeah guys, that pretty much wraps up my review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I definitely recommend you all go watch it. If you're an old fan, new fan, or not a fan at all, please go watch the movie. It was totally worth what I had in my wallet, and I won't hesitate to watch it 1,000 more times. If you did enjoy this video, go down there and click the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And please tell me what you thought of the movie in the comments, but do be mindful of others and try your best not to spoil the people who haven't seen the movie yet. With all that being said though, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.